Community in central Nebraska is left in a lurch after Tyson Foods announces plans to shutter its plant in Lexington.
Thousands of people will be laid off just after the holiday season. KETV Newswatch 7 Capitol Bureau Chief John Goodwalls traveled there today. He has more on how the community is rallying together.
Steam pours from the rooftops of Tyson Foods, hanging over the semis wheeling in and out. To some in town, it may as well be shadows curling overhead.
They feel like their life is over.
The announcement came Friday. Around 3,200 jobs in the city of 11,000 would disappear come late January.
They don't even want to take the holidays off now. They don't even feel like there is anything to celebrate.
A shock for Lexington Public Schools, whose student body speaks more than 20 languages.
Half of our kids have parents that work at the plant. For the time being, just supporting our families, supporting our kids, our staff members. We have the personnel to be able to do that. We're unique in that way, I think, in a community of our size. Just trying to help stabilize the environment.
Community and state leaders now scrambling for solutions as the thousands who work at Tyson currently search for new jobs and a new horizon.
My message is don't panic, stay strong, and there are resources to help us get through this.
State Senator Teresa Ibaugh joined community leaders on Tuesday afternoon.
How are we reaching that?
It was a pooling of resources, the Department of Labor and Health and Human Services, the hospital, banks, work training organizations, and the library, which is already hosting job fairs.
What in the high levels, the federal levels, local levels are doing to bring the happiness, the jobs that we are losing?
It's day by day, but many are still hopeful Lexington can rally through the disaster.
Some are calling a crisis. Lines stretching around the block in D.C. as hundreds wait just to try to make an appointment to apply for rental assistance. 7 News was there as nearly 1,000 people were out in the cold to try to save their homes. Most told 7 News they were laid off and they're facing eviction within weeks.
Yeah, our Washington, D.C. reporter Felicia Ashley is joining us live now from Northeast D.C. Felicia, a community member called you this morning after they were already waiting for hours.
That's right, and that call came at 6 a.m. and I got here moments later. As you can see now, it has died down. Most people have been able to make their way in, but those even at the end of the line right now have been here for more than 6 hours. Now, people told me that this was very disorganized chaos. They said that the government, the district should have been preparing for this, especially during the season that we are in. And I saw some of that as I was here. Yeah, it drops right away. The phone number the department gave people doesn't work. Some telling me that's why they had to come in person.
I lost my job 8 months ago. I haven't been able to find a new job, and that means I didn't pay rent for all that time. And now my landlord is suing to evict me. And unless I can pay the protective order, I would probably be homeless.
Shalom. I want to start by saying all praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Hakwadash, the belongs to the apostles, bishops, and elders, great millstone, and salutations. I can push this word in all sincerity and honesty, and the hopeful elect constantly enduring. Shalom. My name is Kara Allah. Lord wants makes for edifying lesson. Now, as you're watching the crisis of unemployment, people not having a job. Okay, this is 2 places I showed was Nebraska and D.C. Okay, now we're in a time where it's supposed to be a joyful state. Now, years ago, everyone will be happy around this time. They're buying turkeys, having the family together. Don't matter if you at odds or at strife with your family, you all come together around this time and you say what you're thankful for and grateful for. But it's Black Friday. You go shopping, you buy TVs, buy whatever furniture. Okay, and people have their jobs and they'll take their money and they'll get their little vacation checks. They'll get bonuses just to enjoy their families. That's when they had it good. Okay, but now things are getting bad. It's getting worse, and you see people, even old, young, those doesn't really matter. People are fighting for their homes. All right, they're fighting against being homeless. Okay, and it's getting bad and it's looking really bleak. But you know, for the elect out there that's going through it, you're gonna be delivered through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, the Lord's going to deliver his elect out of the situation, although we are all going to go through it. You know, it's times of Jacob's trouble. Okay, and also your government is going to come down on you with that great wrath, because a lot of what you're seeing is man-made. Okay, it's going to be strife amongst the people. People it's going to destroy each other for the lack of bread. It's gonna be famines. Okay, famines amongst the people. Okay, sickness, right? And all of this is to bring in that new world order. All right, which also falls under Agenda 2030. You know, but this man is definitely moving in haste. Right, and the people, which they don't know what's going on. They just think it's a bad time, you know. But the signs are getting more and more bold that this man's a devil, right, and that this place is coming to an end. But let me pull out some scriptures, and Lord willing, this makes for an edifying lesson. This is Ephesians 5, verse 15. It says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." And I'm going straight to the point, okay? "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise," all right? Now, it'd be a foolish thing to not keep your eyes on current events, to know what's going on around you in the world today, all right? To live in complete denial. Now, what you come to find out when you speak to different people, whether you at work, you know, whatever situation you're in, to where you can interact with people, you speak to them and you realize a lot of these women, they don't like bad news. Okay, they want their peace. They want to focus on themselves. So what they would do is to not stress themselves out and to not build up anxiety or have any negative energy. They'll just stay away from the news because they know it's nothing but bad news every time you turn the news on. Okay, but you also have women that'll take that spirit and they run with that same spirit. You know, they'll do everything else, focus on their business, focus on everything else, you know, their job, working for the man, their family, except the news, except what's going on in the world. So when these things fall upon them, it's completely, you know, it's completely unexpected. It's completely caught off guard. Okay, so it says, "Wherefore be," it says, Ephesians 5:15 says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly," okay, circumspectly, to know what's going on around you. And that's talking about the men of the Lord. See, the men of the Lord ain't gonna be on no silly, undisciplined, careless behaviors, man. Everything a man of the Lord is doing, first of all praise, honor, glory goes to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. But the Lord's gonna put the spirit on that man, you know, or woman, if you of the elect of the 1/3, right, gonna put the spirit on you to move correctly in these times, to know what's going on. Okay, there's a famine coming up. Let me store up some food or whatever, you know. But the main thing you're gonna do is have faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, continue to do the works, serve the Lord, depending on what that department is. Like, if you're a man, you're supposed to be out there on the highways and byways, but if you're a woman, then you're supposed to be at home, obeying your man and teaching the young. Okay, all in the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, seeing then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools but as wise. So yeah, you walking circumspectly, and I know we all know to keep up with the news, keep up with the current events. Okay, basically when we see the news, read between the lines, you know. Read between the lines, know when the news is accurate, know when it's a black swan event, okay? Know when they're straight up just lying to you, All right, because you can't just listen to the news and just think everything is true, because this man's the devil. All right, if they tell you something is bad, just know it's worse. If they tell you something is good, know it's bad. Okay, seeing then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Okay, redeeming the time. How do you redeem the times? Preparing for the times. Okay, and ultimately you do that by serving Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, because that's our deliverer. That's our way out. Okay, the Lord's gonna deliver the ones that bow down to Him, that serve Him, that stay loyal to Him. Okay, because the days are evil. We in some evil times. We in some bad times, and it's only gonna get worse. You know, and we see it. You know, but I showed you earlier through the Spirit as far as people being unemployed, people fighting homelessness, people fighting famine. Okay, people are on the edge, and it's going to lead to drastic measures. It's going to lead to desperation. Okay, and you're going to start seeing people turn into animals without laws, not respecting the authorities and doing what they have to do for them, for their kids and for their families. And that's when things are going to take a real bad turn. You know, it says, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. Now, of course, all these things have to happen. It's all prophesied to happen in the scriptures. Okay, because at the end of this thing, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. For who? For Israel, for the elect of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the elect of you that call upon Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, that serve the Lord to the best of your ability. Okay? The elect, you know, Lord, well, I am part of that number. Proverbs 22, verse 3. This is Proverbs 22, verse 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Now, when you're dealing with the evil, of course, we know what times we're in. We know who the enemy is, the prudent man. Okay, also that's hand in hand with being circumspect. All right, being prudent. Okay, making sure. Foreseeth the evil. Foresee. How? Because you're in the scriptures. You're learning the wisdom, knowledge, understanding. You learn about the prophecies. Okay, so you know these things have to happen, and you seeing it happen in real time. And what that does is it builds your faith. Okay. Pardon me. So it says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. And hideth himself. How you hide yourself? Through the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? The Lord's going to have a cloak around the men of the Lord. All right? And the women and the child and the children. All right? The 1/3. But the simple pass on and are punished. But the simple, the Lord's going to have them punished. You know? This whole thing is going to be a judgment onto the simple, onto the 2/3. You know? Because if you're trying to strive in America, if you're trying to make any money, serve any gods, you're really being simple. You know? You're really being simple, man. The wisest thing you could do is serve Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. That's how your eyes your spiritual eyes are open, not only to the word of the Heavenly Father, but also to also to seeing the things come to pass. You know, like for example, you got Trump, and then you got these you got the Democrats, Republicans, and you would think that they're fighting one side in the world. You would think one side is here to help you, and the other side is being the devil. In all actuality, they both on the same sides. Okay, just to confuse you, and ultimately have you unknowingly do exactly what they want you to do. Okay. Now, some men might know that, but they might not have the whole truth. So you need 100% truth. This is Ecclesiastes 12:3. In the day when the keepers of the house, let me go up, Salakia. Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Right? The Lord don't need you at the end of this thing. The Lord needs you now. All right? Go out there. It says go out there in the lanes, right? Bid them to the marriage. Go out there on the road, bid them to the marriage. So the Lord needs you to do the work now. The marriage will be Yahweh Shah returning to gather up his elect. Okay? That has been doing his work. Okay? So when you marriage, actually a marriage is unity. Okay? So we have to be one with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth. Right? When you young, when you have energy, that's what youth means. When you young, you have energy. You have power to get out there and do the works. While the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Okay? And the evil days, going into Jacob's trouble, ultimately going into destruction of this place, America, right? World War III. Okay, the evil days, man. You see, ICE is in the streets, right? And you see what they're doing, because we're in the beginning of those times. I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, going in to the wisdom. Okay? Sometimes the wisdom could be referred to as the sun or the light, or the moon. Okay? It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, right? The keepers of the house. Who are the keepers of the house? The elites. Right? This is their kingdom. Yeah, they're going to tremble because they know they're at the end too. Then they'll try to do everything in their power to keep in rulership, but it's not up to them. It's up to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. And it says, and the strong men shall bow themselves. Yeah, you got these mighty men, whether military, whether financially, whatever, because you got some people that are giants in certain businesses where they might have all kinds of money, right? But then you also have mighty men where people believe they're tough through their power, their wealth, their strength. It doesn't matter. The mighty men shall bow themselves. And it says, and the strong men shall bow themselves, right? Because you're going to be in a humble state, right? It's not going to be nothing you can fight. It's not nothing money can solve. It's just going to be you in distress, right? The Lord's going to bring you proudful people to your knees in these last days, right? The Lord's going to humble you guys in these last days. And the grinding cease because there are few, and the grinders cease because there are few. Now, they were talking about bringing jobs back to America and so forth and whatnot, right? But the jobs they're bringing is bullshit. Either it's temporary jobs or it's jobs that put you in servitude, okay? Like working at a bar as a waitress and whatever, right? So, depending on tips, okay? So, the jobs they bring, they basically America is turning you guys into a bunch of slaves, man. Okay? Now, if you have to work at a job, be as a bartender or a serve or a waiter, okay, a doorman, bus boy, whatever the job is you got to do, then we got to do that. Why? Because we in captivity. Okay, but I'm just saying, the scriptures say, oppression makes a wise man mad. You don't got to be happy you're doing that job, but that's your lot to do that kind of job. It is what it is. Me personally, I respect anybody trying to go to work. Especially if you were so-called Negro, Latino, Native American. All right. Now, if you were Edomite and you got to go ahead and work the same way Jake worked, then this is your kingdom, you know. This is your time to really shine. So if that's the case, then you a two-time loser. Okay, too bad for you. Because in the kingdom, you ain't gonna understand the level. You ain't gonna understand the level of captivity you gonna be in. Okay, it says, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Right, going into the future, you know, looking at the future of this place, all your aspirations, all your dreams, it's all gonna shatter. You know, if it didn't already shatter. All right. Meanwhile, if you want a job, you could mess with ICE and get you $50,000 as a just a sign up, as just a bonus, just to sign up. You know, so Esau knows exactly what he's doing, how he's being wicked, you know, and using people's weakness to get them to do what he wants, and also to build his army. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of the music shall be brought low. Yeah, the doors are shut in the street, man. All right, now that's what I just showed you earlier when you watched those two videos I put up, man. People are losing jobs left and right. Jobs are businesses are closing down. You're losing your position to machines, to AI. All right, so it's really bad in these streets, and it's only going to get worse. Okay. So Lord willing, to edifying lesson, I want to say all praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shah, Bashim Kakwadash, double honesty, apostles, bishops, elders, millstone, citation, I can push this word, no city, honesty, and hopefully constantly doing shalom.